Hi everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Hallmark Plus More, where we watch and talk about shows, movies, mysteries, Hallmark ornaments, and anything else that floats our boat. So today we are going to be watching and discussing Elsbeth Season 2, Episode 2. It airs on CBS, starring Carrie Preston as Elsbeth. So definitely a different spin on your typical crime drama. It's kind of like a modern day Columbo where you kind of see everything firsthand and then you see how she works with the police to get the evidence. So definitely exciting show. Looking forward to watching it with you and talking about it. Stay with me at the end and we'll kind of discuss it and review. So right now on the screen you see the CBS logo. So I'm just going to count it down. It goes right on into it. So we'll watch it together in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. CBS logo. Okay, this one's about space. I remember that from the preview. So we're seeing astronauts here. Oh, something's going on. Losing air pressure, that's not good. Oh, so it was a test. Okay. Billionaires trying to go on a spaceship. Is that a hoverboard he's on? Okay, so a bunch of billionaires going on a space mission. Okay, seriously? Wow. Okay, well, arguments between billionaires. Sorry, it's not something I can relate to. Just like everybody else. So, a bunch of billionaires Nothing better to do with their time but to spend millions of dollars on going into space. I know it takes a lot of preparation to go up into space, but I mean, I guess they're paying for it though. What, 60 million a person? Craziness. It's amazing stimulation though, right? Okay, well, he didn't look surprised. Whoa, hello. He looks like, I knew this was going to happen. I did it. I mean, obviously, we don't know if he did it, but maybe he did do it. He looked a little too not surprised. All right, Elsbeth, where are you going? So who's Carter? Yeah, who's this guy? Ooh, nothing worth discussing. Are you threatening her? What does that mean? I'm confused. Is that saying like Elsbeth better keep her mouth shut? I feel like that was kind of a threat. We'll see. Now she's with the astronauts. For a price. For billionaires. I agree, Kayla. I get it, but I'm with Kayla. I agree. I know everybody wants to be an astronaut or that's a fantasy, but come on. Yeah, it is. Seriously, all these billionaires. Oh, wow. Okay. I agree, Kayla. Mm-hmm. Billionaires, no billionaires, I guess. Graphite. Interesting. Okay. All right, there he is. So what exploded? Battery. Battery. I don't think it's the vape. I think it's in his shoes. He did it. It wasn't the vape, something in his shoes, because that's the only thing he put on. Something in his shoes. Yes, it was murder. Oh, yeah. One of those billionaires killed another billionaire. Okay. Well, we're going to have the commercial break here. So, I mean, not necessarily an episode that is relatable, obviously. Billionaires, spoiled billionaires, spending millions and millions of dollars to play astronaut. Now, yes, I know that's the dream of a lot of young kids. I'm not downing. Astronauts are very smart, very intelligent, and we've come a long way with our space program. But, $60 million dollars a piece or more than that, just not a relatable story. Billionaires killing billionaires, you know what I mean? But I got a feeling when they said the vape pens and one's missing, I'm like, yeah, that seemed planted to me. I thought it was interesting where he kept going on about his pen, how he changed the color. So I thought that was interesting. Maybe that was just a side note to show his personality. But the reason why I say it wasn't the vape pen, I knew that right away. I'm glad they kind of discredited that quickly. The only thing you saw him do was put on the rubber boots and step into the centrifuge. So that's why I said it's, when they said it's got to be something he brought in with him. He doesn't have any pockets. His spacesuits don't have pockets. So that's why I jumped to the shoes, only because if he has no pockets, he had nothing in his hands, everything is videotaped. It had to have been something that was away from him, right? It couldn't have been his suit because obviously he had his suit on them unless the killer came up and just slipped something in a pocket. But they said there were no pockets. So it had to have been something that he either put on or was on him that was away from him for somebody to, sabotage it. So that's why I was thinking the boots. He put on the boots right before he walked in. Somebody could have sabotaged the boots before he stepped into them. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm thinking if it's sabotage, the killer has to be alone with whatever item or whatever form of sabotage it is before, the victim goes in. So, yeah, I'm definitely thinking it has something to do with the boots. If it's a battery, maybe they cut open the sole of the boot, put a battery in there. I don't know. Maybe they just laced it with, you just don't know. But I can't think of anything else that he was away from, but that he used in the centrifuge except for the boots. So we'll just have to see, because this is interesting. I don't know a lot about the space program, so I always like to watch episodes like this and kind of learn. Not that everything is fiction, everything can be fictional. We don't know what's the truth and not, but definitely interesting to see. Now we're going to kind of see why they wanted to kill the victim. Like, what was their motive? So that's going to be interesting. And then just kind of see how Elsbeth kind of gets through it. Because she's so intelligent and kind of quirky. And here we go. Let's see. Oh, Jake's the fire marshal. So they're saying a battery. Well, Ethan. this, Jake? Okay, Jake. Hello. Of the case? Yeah, of course. Oh, Jake. Coming on to Elsbeth. Well, that was unexpected. I wasn't expecting her to flirt with her. Missing battery? True. Oh, a lot, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay. I think the Penn School. Apparently. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And he was close with Gavin, apparently. Mm-hmm. Mm. True. Yeah, obviously. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, what's the snoozer about? What moment? Ooh, he fell asleep? Oh. Oh no. Okay. Well, it kind of makes sense. When you heard the name snoozer, I thought it had to do with, him falling asleep. Um, but interesting. Okay, so that is a little embarrassing. I mean, that's a huge that's a huge conference, a huge, meeting, so to speak, on national television. Um, he seems very excited about his paint. I mean, the way he changed his pen. Um, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I mean, I think it's odd. They spoke for about it for a couple minutes. Um, but I can't put the pieces together about the pen. Maybe, maybe towards the end of the show we'll find out why it was significant or why that was. But from all I could see, I'm still leaning on the boots. And like I said, the only thing that I have to go on is when they watched him get into the centrifuge, they opened up the, I guess the drawer or whatever, or the tote or whatever it was, and he put on the boots. And that's all you really saw him do. He put on the shoes, the boots, and then he walked in. They said they didn't have any pockets. Now, there wasn't any locks on the lockers, because like you said, but I don't think they would have tampered with the suit. I mean, I don't know how you could tamper with the suit if there's no pockets. If there's no holes or no pockets, how can you slip something in? Now, you can in shoes. I mean, you don't even have to cut a slit out in the sole, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, they could, if the battery's small enough, you could probably just put it in the, the bottom of the shoe where your toes are, or and then when he slipped his foot into it, he probably didn't feel anything. I mean, if they're saying it's as small as it is, you really could put it anywhere. But to be honest, it's hard for me to get into this episode because I think I'm the average person who's just struggling to pay her bills like everybody else, and watching an episode about whiny, spoiled billionaire brats spending all this money, it's kind of hard to get into the show. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I love the show. I love Elsbeth. I love Kayla, but the plot line is hard for me to get into. So hopefully it'll get a little better, but it is kind of hard to see they have all this money, and and like I said, nothing wrong with the space program, but it's just hard to see them as big babies with all the money that they're spending. But I am curious to see, how he did it and why he did it. So that's going to be interesting to see. So let's get back into it, see what Elsbeth does. Here we go. That's true. He made his billions doing the opposite of what he said, but yeah, it's a lot to take in. Mm-hmm. That's a tough one. Okay, so he was getting it on with somebody else. Okay, I guess. Hmm. I agree. Take a closer look at the victim. Space Fanny is kind of cool. Aww. Aww. Kayla's great. Yay. He's going to mentor her a little bit. Oh, what'd she find? Mm-hmm. Ooh, that seems kind of dangerous. Thought it was the shoes. That's what I'm saying. They put the battery in the shoe. Go, Elsbeth. That's what I said. The battery was in the shoes. Mm-hmm. True. Yeah, he did. Yep. Yeah, I think so too. He idolized Gavin. That's his son. How are you going to find the missing battery, though? That's going to be hard. Okay, what is he doing now? Planting evidence? What's he doing? What's he doing with her battery? Okay, what's he doing? What's he doing? Yeah, prototypes is what I was thinking. He's trying to get a date with Elsbeth. Okay. Wow. Oh, that's true. Again. You're fired again. Okay, so I guess what she's looking for is the missing battery, which I think is going to be hard to find. I'm sure there's batteries all over that place. Um, so, I mean, I think she enjoyed playing with the prototypes with the fire marshal, who obviously wants a date with Elsbeth. So I like that little side story they have there for this episode. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, we do a lot for our kids, right? Um, Not that you should be killing or hurting anybody for your children. I'm not saying that, but I think that would be kind of what his motive was. His son basically did idolize Gavin, didn't care about all of the fame and fortune that his dad has in his company with the paint. He was really just wanting Gavin to mentor him and kind of go that route. So I think that really hurt Neil. Like, hey, my son basically, is calling me snoozer, doesn't even call me dad, which is an embarrassing nickname. I feel like, when people get nicknames, it really sticks. And it's that stigma that kind of doesn't go away if you have this nickname, and to be called by your son the nickname is even worse. You have to deal with the media and, other people and maybe your enemies or even some of your friends calling you that. But when your own son is calling you that and disrespectful to you, that's really hard. So, I mean, if that's his motive, that he killed this guy because his son, wanted to be mentored by him and go into that career, I understand how that can be hard. It hurts his feelings. That's his son.
He's worked so hard to build this company, make millions. He's very proud of the paint industry that he created, or that he, basically made all this money from it. So if he didn't create it or invent it, I mean, he obviously, was able to profit by it. And his son is just not appreciative at all. However, I don't know what he was doing in the ladies' room. Is he planning on killing somebody else, or was he kind of covering his tracks? I really don't know what that was about. So that's going to be interesting to see. But it looks like the motive is starting to come together, that he's doing it, for his son. Maybe if he sees Gavin for what he is, or for, the kind of person he was, not necessarily the kind of person his son, envisions him that to be. Maybe he'll come back to him in the paint business. I don't know what he thought would happen by doing that, or maybe he has some other grudge against him. But I mean, having his son idolize him and having being called the snoozer, I would be upset too. So we'll have to see, what else comes out. But yeah, I mean, definitely interesting to see what happens or what he's doing and where they find that battery. It seemed like she had a good lead. Oh, it came from, the hoverboard, because that's what he texted his assistant, and they're very, reliant on their assistants. So that being a dead end, like, we just got to figure it out. But I was kind of thinking the boots thing, only because there was nothing else that you could put on there. It wouldn't be on his suit. He doesn't have any pockets. The only thing that he did before going to the centrifuge was the boots, and somebody else could have had access to it before he put them on. So that's kind of why I came to that conclusion. But I definitely want to see how the show ends. We still have a little bit of time left to see how she kind of wraps everything up. I love that Captain Wagner, kind of asked, to mentor Kayla, because I love Kayla. It looks like that, that didn't sideline her. It's just part of a side story. She's just going to night classes, because I really love her in the show. So I thought that was really sweet, that Captain Wagner is going to mentor her and kind of help her as she tries to still, take that detective test and kind of work her way up to a detective, because I think she's great. And I love that friendship and sisterhood she has with Elsbeth. So, let's get back to it and just see how they wrap up the episode. All right, here we go. Okay. How's the cabin pressure doing? They gonna get it? Oh, good. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, that's a question, because if it wasn't the hoverboard, that's what I'm thinking too. She thought it was the hoverboard. It wasn't the hoverboard, so why wasn't it working? He called him dad, which is what he wanted, so maybe this is why he did it. Yeah, it would throw me off. I didn't like the nickname. True. So we still got to figure out why the hoverboard wasn't working, but well, I kind of figured the batteries were interchangeable. That's why I figured it would be difficult. But maybe I didn't realize that would help the case. Apparently, it is helping the case. Something. Ooh, that is good. That's why she was taking the battery out of it. I thought there was a reason why he was doing it. Why can't she get it out? What came out? Ooh, maybe he just helped solve the case. I like that smile on Wagner. Okay, so we know why he was in Morgan's room to frame Morgan. So she was right about the hoverboard. The battery in the hoverboard must have been what he used or some part there. And then he just took the battery out of her mask and put it in the hoverboard to kind of frame Morgan. And I believe he was the one who said that Gavin and Morgan kind of had a fling. I don't know. I think that he was the one who brought that up, probably to deflect, right? Because people that commit crimes, if they're asked, usually they're going to deflect or put the blame on someone else so that it doesn't look like they're guilty. So, I'm assuming that's why he did that, just like Elsbeth said. But what popped out? Captain Wagner was like, oh, I know what that is. What was it? Whatever it was is definitely going to help us with the case here. We only have about 10 minutes left, so we're definitely going to be able to see how that affects the case for sure. But yeah, I definitely want to see kind of how he did it. And definitely exciting to see I like Captain Wagner having a little bit more of a hands-on approach, because I really like his character. The actor who plays Captain Wagner, he is great. I've seen him in other things. He's a great actor. But I like how he's kind of a little bit hands-on. And I just like his demeanor in the show. It just seems like he's a really nice guy. And it's terrible what happened to him in season 1, that he felt betrayed by his friend. So I'm glad they were able to kind of wrap that up. You can always go back and watch Elsbeth season 1 to kind of know what I'm talking about. But I like that he kind of brought on and wants to mentor Kayla. So I like that. Definitely want to see what's going on, how that relates back. I mean, obviously the fire marshal wants to ask out Elsbeth, so that'll be interesting to see too. But let's see if we can just get back to it, see how they kind of wrap it all up. I'm sure Captain Wagner likes getting in on it, in on the case, and sees like he might be able to solve it. So it's going to be interesting to see for sure. Just kind of see how we're going to wrap up the show. So I'm just seeing all the commercials on here. And hopefully it'll get back to it now. And you kind of have that side story of, that case back in Chicago. So she kind of made that comment. So we'll see if that plays at the end of the episode. Usually at the end of the episode, they always throw in something personal, you know what I mean, about once the case is completed. So maybe they'll mention something more about a Chicago case. But we'll see. We're going to get right back into it, see how they're going to get him for this crime since there's not much time left. All right. I just feel bad if it's him, then he's not, his son lost his mentor and now his dad's going to go to prison if it was him. So that's always kind of not really a win-win, you know what I mean? All right, it looks like they're still showing different commercials. All right, here we go. Here we go. It should be coming back on now. Oh, okay. Sorry. Just showing a ad for the local news. But yeah, I think it's going to be sad that Randy or Neil Jr. is pretty much going to be left alone. Obviously, he's going to have all that money, but that doesn't make up for not having a relationship with the dad and knowing that your mentor died and wasn't the person you thought they were. So kind of like a double whammy with that. You lose your mentor and you find out he was preaching one thing and doing something else. So that's hard to take. So I think Randy's going to have a lot to deal with. So we'll just have to see how that goes for him. All right. Okay. More ads for CBS shows. Kind of like a really long commercial break here. But yeah, I think that's going to be the real lose situation in this, obviously, besides the person who died, was how he has to take care of it. All right. Here we go. It's coming back into it now. And of course, you're going to see Neil, because that's who they're going to nail for the crime or show that he did it. Aw, all right. So he's not leaving. So it's hard for him. He's realizing his dad was right. The mentor was a fraud, but at least he's still going to go through with the mission. Oh, his pen. Oh. Oh, that's how they got him. That's hard. That is hard, but it's not right. Fire March still wants to date Elsbeth. Uh-oh, that's her. Ooh, okay. So I thought the end you wrap up the case, but there's always something personal. So I kind of was expecting that something about that Chicago case, and I was right. They were talking about it. I'm just gonna go ahead and we're gonna look at the preview. It was been great watching and discussing with you. Let's see the preview for next week, and stay with me. We'll do our review of this episode. But here we go. Let's see what happens next week. Next week. Oh, spooky Elsbeth. Something to do with Halloween. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching, kind of discussing the episode with me. I appreciate it. Definitely stay with me. We'll do a review video and just kind of review everything. So until next time, bye.